So today we're going to look through Prismatic, just because Journey Together's come out, and to be honest, it may not be crazy accessible for sealed products just on the shelf, but in general, I feel like there's been a decent amount stocked. Like, it's not been a complete wrestle for every single pack that you can find. I'm finding it in my local kind of post office sort of shop. Maybe, yes, you look at the big ones, like you look at Smith's, you look at kind of like an Asda or somebody that would necessarily have a certain amount of product. Realistically, yes, they are probably gone because they're the ones that are hit straight away. But normally you find straight away that the kind of post office, the little shops, that do kind of get a half sleeve of a booster. Maybe they get a full booster box and they just rip the single packs and that's all they've got. They seem to have some, not loads, but more than what Prismatic was just out the window straight away. And I know that was a special set, so it was always going to be interesting to see what the difference between them two was. But now the kind of dust is settled, Prismatic is no longer the newest set out. We've got our kind of eyes set on Destined Rivals at the end of May, especially with the team, the Glory Team Rocket coming out at some point soon. I think it's 18th of April. Plus then the Heatwave Arena or Hot Air Arena being the first half of Destined Rivals that is out as well. It's always interesting to see if the hype fades with it. Now, obviously we're going to look through TCG Player. It tends to be the best place that you can kind of go with. And hopefully the camera now, I realized I had manual focus on. I looked through a few of the videos and thought, why do I look so out of focus? So I'm hoping this looks a little bit better. But let's have a look through our lovely Prismatic evolution. So obviously I've gone from high to low. I do want to have a look through some of the cards as well, just to see where they're going, because Umbreon's kind of a big one. Naturally, the best thing to do whenever looking at these is try and find how long they've been out for. So you can kind of see the 3-month graph of where it first came out in January, and you can see what's been sold. So naturally, the big thing whenever looking at a graph like this is having a look, is it actually selling? I can say these AirPods are worth 50 grand because they are one of a kind, because they're mine. I can say whatever price I want. If you get this, if you were the first person to get Umbreon in a PSA 10 in Ace Beckett, just randomly, you're the very first one, that's the first pop ever, you could put the price tag on it, but it means absolutely nothing unless somebody buys it. So whenever you go into TCG, always have a look at this pricing, see where it's at, and see the items sold, so we can see in terms of how many are sold. I mean, it's going to be quite an expensive card. You've got 1, 5, 5, 7, 5, 2, and you more than likely might see a couple more trickle down as you get to the more expensive. But if you want to look at the view more data, this will actually tell you what has sold and why, because you could get 15 of them that sell at 1100 and it drops the price dramatically, but they could all be lightly played. It's always interesting to double check your maths, do the research and actually see. So you can kind of go through and see. So obviously you got the 30th, the 29th, the 28th, and you can see where they're actually being sold. You will also see some Japanese might kind of trickle through here, but it sometimes doesn't happen. But naturally that's where you've got to look. Have a look at the listings. You've got a PSA 10, so you can see sold for 3.2, which is just nuts. So in terms of it's coming down. It's naturally coming down a little bit, and it's good to see other Umbreons as well. Looking at a Moonbreon, which is going to be a very close comparison, you'll kind of see if that's coming down, is everything else as well. So you kind of look through at some of the top hitters to see what they're doing. I can imagine just purely on the fact that everything was so up there in terms of price, it naturally had to come down a little bit. And I've been keeping an eye on a couple because I have the Flareon and also the Vaporeon, not necessarily to sell, but just in general to see where they're at. And some are going up, and to be honest, I managed to say that because we do have the Vaporeon that is actually going up slightly. We kind of saw it at 348. I think I managed to get it pretty much on this week 1, so I saw it at the 300 price mark, and then it kind of dipped down a little bit. I assumed it would, but it's starting to climb up a little bit more, which is always nice to see. Some corrections in the market. You can kind of see 400 at the near mint. Obviously you've got some Japanese as well. but always interesting to see regardless. And yes, the Flareon on the other hand on that, I believe is coming down as well, or it should be. I think it's gone up and now it's kind of coming over a little bit. We might be seeing a little plateau, but we're seeing it, not many are being sold. Like, it's just still trickling through. Obviously, a lot of people kind of did really well to buy it around here. Like, if you think if one person bought 11 of them here at 228 and then you're selling them at 400, give or take, you're making a hefty profit. Obviously, lightly played. I don't know how people have got lightly played ones already. Like, that's absolutely crazy. But in general, some people just play with them in general. So that's absolutely fine. You've also then got the Super Collection Box. Obviously, that's on pre-sale. So we kind of go through all the cards. Another one to look through is the non-evolutions, specifically in this set. So looking at something like the Roaring Moon, just because it is quite up there, you can see in terms of pricing, it's getting up there as well. And that's the scary bit about this set. It's not just one card or 5 cards or even just the evolutions. You've got a consistent amount of top end. You look at this Krelagid, I can't pronounce the words. You know, you can see who I'm on about. Yeah, I'm done. You've obviously got the Roaring Moon and then all the others which do follow with it. The Terrapagos coming in on the lower end with it. You've got the Dragapult, you've got the Raging Bolt, all coming at very hefty prices. Even something like the Goldango, to be honest, is still crazy prices. Like, you put that into Temporal Forces, you're getting 15 quid off it, or if anything, but it's because it is a secret illustration rare. It's not necessarily a normal illustration, and they are actually selling, which is just crazy. Obviously, you've got the Japanese, which, to be honest, if you're looking at it, if you're trying to just get the actual artworks, I personally would at this point. If you're not willing to really go and kind of, almost, you've got to save. Like, realistically, if you're trying to buy all these, like, you look at the first top 3 cards, you are spending $2.5 grand on 3 cards. That for me is just far too much. The way I would see Prismatic, you've got to wait for this hype to die down. To be honest, does it mean these ever drop in price? Probably not. I think even if the hype died down, these are still going to be expensive. They may not be as expensive, like maybe one drops or a few of them drop, maybe the Roaring Moon drops, but the evolutions are still up there. That's fair enough. But in terms of right now, I don't want to take that chance, because if the hype dies and these do die around them, that's the bit that I'm kind of like, I'm not willing to try and make that move, to be honest. When it comes to the products then, that's going to be the big one. I'm not necessarily looking at cases, to be honest, because I personally have never really dealt in cases massively, but also I don't know how accessible they are in themselves. To be honest, with ETBs, I suppose you could if you're looking to sell. Obviously, it's a bit easier if you are obviously trying to sell them on. So say if I'm trying to buy them at a 1.4 and then sell them off at 1.5, you get what I mean. They are making that sort of profit that way. But as a single, if you are looking for a single kind of product, you've obviously got the Pokemon Trainer ETB, which is the Pokemon Center one, coming in. It did drop down a little bit, but to be fair, I think everybody knew that it was going to go back up. I think this, in general, as a sealed collection, is a great hold. Regardless, to be honest, I think you could probably hold this forever and it would still go up. I really do. When it comes to this sort of level of kind of exclusive product that will be opened, at some point there will be a consistent amount of people that have opened their X amount. Say if there's 50,000 of these like floating around, doubt it, but if there's say 1,000 of these, if you've got one, I guarantee there's more and more people that will open them each day, month, year. It's an easy product, I think, with a Pokemon Center, especially on a good set like this. Maybe kind of just throwing it randomly like on a Temporal Forces, you might not see the increase massively, but I do think with the exclusivity of that, same with the display tins. If you've got all of the display tin, to be honest, I'm not even fussed with the actual case, but just to show that you've got all of them, I think that is a great investment in general. I like the piece itself. Like, I like having the tins out of the box as such, but in the sealed tins as a display piece. That again will be absolutely incredible. It's kind of how it looks, but then also what it means to a seller, to a collector, because like I said at the start, if nobody's going to buy it, it's not valued at that. Like, you could look at this, and if there's only, say there's one purchase every 2 weeks, it's not a heavy kind of demanded set, so more than likely you could see the price float away, or even if it stayed, say, for the next 5 years and it stayed around the same, you're probably waiting a month to maybe even half a year until you find the right buyer who's actually wanting to buy them. But Prismatic won't have that problem, let's be real. Prismatic is going to be bought until quite literally cannot be bought anymore. It is so difficult to find at a semi-decent price. Like, it's a difficult one in itself. Obviously, the normal Prismatic Evolution Trainer Box you have got coming in at around the average of about 148. You kind of see it at the moment at about 135. There was so many sold. Like, look at all of this. You got 550 items sold. You've got 383, 1,859. You can see everybody buying in that high point there, like that, or that low point. In fact, this is just absolutely crazy. And you can get them for 130, which I think in English terms you're looking at what, about 115 pounds. I mean, I get it that you physically can buy them. Like, of course you can get Prismatic if you're willing to buy the product for way over odds. Like, realistically, we're looking at ETBs at 45 to 55, maybe like what, less than probably like 5-6 months ago for the Temporal Forces, for Paldea Evolved, even Paldea Fate, Obsidian Flames. You could buy them all 40 quid, 45 quite comfortably, and that's kind of what this inflation is doing. So that's where I'm like, you can go and buy them, they're easily accessible for a very, very hefty price. And the same with a booster bundle. ETBs, as long as you've opened one and got the product out of it, then that's absolutely fine. I don't think you need to keep getting that same one, but the booster bundle is where it's at. And to be honest, this is just the crazy part for me. $75 on an average. This was normally a £25 box of 6. It's the best product you can get for the most efficient packs. 6 packs, nothing else, no fuss. I kind of like the box as well, but in general, that is just absolutely crazy. It went all the way up to $109 on average, which is just crazy. And you've got multiple selling here. And I wanted to show you on the eBay site to see where they're going, just to see what they're looking at English-wise versus the TCG. And we're looking at around about, by what I saw, anywhere between 40 at a very low option to about the 50 mark, maybe a little bit more. You can kind of see it's an average of about 46, 47, which is always interesting to see the difference. And again, when I'm looking at this, I'm thinking these are normally at 25. Now, personally for me, I'm very interested into maybe picking up one at the minimum, trying to get it as cheap as possible, picking up one to be able to then go ahead and keep that in as a collection. Because to be honest, when it comes to all of this set, I'm not necessarily here for it. I really think in terms of what we've got now, you're going to see it go up in general. But in general, the pack rate is just so low, I'm not willing to open up anymore. I've opened up 2 ETBs, probably about 20 to 30 packs on top of that. And to be honest, I'm happy with what I've got. Vaporeon, Flareon, we managed to get a Terrapagos, a few of the EXs, which has done well. I'm more than happy now to kind of just continue buying the singles. And that's where you've got to think with the set like this, what is the best way to do? Because a lot of people are going to have this sealed. There's going to be the scalpers, the people making the money straight away, selling the booster bundles, probably maybe standing in line, buying them for 25, 30 on MSRP, maybe even get a nice deal. They've managed to figure out somewhere to get them. They've got a deal in them, they've got a case, whatever, and now it's just triple the price. It's double the price. So that's fair enough, but you're going to have a lot of people still who are holding this investment because yes, they're 50 right now, maybe in the classic 3 to 5 years, but sealed products do go up in value. They tend to. That's the common theme. These are going to be no different, and in such a hype set, looking at something like this and kind of looking at how the 151 is at the moment, that's kind of where you're looking at to kind of really go with. And to be honest, when you look at most of the set in general, how expensive a lot of it is, the Master Ball reverse hollows, the Pokeball reverse hollows on some of them, let alone like an Umbreon EX coming in pretty high priced, it's all in there. Like, you look at like a Riolu Master Ball, you're looking at a $17 card that's very hard to get still. I opened up 20 packs, didn't get a single Master Ball. Got plenty of Pokeballs, a couple of EXs, but not one single Master Ball. Now, very unlucky, I know. You could have got 4 of them in that. But in general, the wait is very, very difficult. And to be honest, I don't know how many more products. We might get a reprint of it, or in terms of more product coming out, but I don't see it being a crazy amount for Prismatic in itself. Not enough to kind of take the market down on Prismatic. So we're looking at the packs in general at about $13 each, which is just crazy in itself. 12 for one, you've obviously got 13 unopened, 12, and I want to say Magic Madhouse had these relative, I want to say it was about £8 something, which $12 I'd say is probably what, no more to about 10 if anything. But if you go over to, I'm pretty sure they had a few, I don't know how many you could actually buy in this, but if you go over to, and plenty of sites will have this most definitely, you've got this, and I want to say you got it for about £8, yeah, £8.75, so I suppose it's not too far off away. They've got 10 plus stock, so if you wanted to go, you've got maximum order of 25, you can still find them around. It's not like you can't, it's just a very inflated price. Rather than the $3.99, the maybe £4 to £5 you can normally buy packs for after a month or two or a couple of months, they're already chilling at the £8 to £9, which kind of tells you what this set is going to do. But it seems like it's still holding strong. We will kind of check in more than likely in about a month for this and see where Journey Together is, and then we'll also kind of do another update on Prismatic to see, are we looking at any buy periods with this, or is it just going to be a pick it up as you go? Personally, I'm just going to try and continue what I can with this. I will make an update on what I've got already in the Prismatic, because I must admit the binder looks sick with how I've done it in the 9-piece binder, and I think it could look sick in a 12-piece as well. But let me know down below how you're getting on with it. Are you started Journey Together yet? And I'll catch you all for the next one anyway. Peace.